Hello again, boys. Now in this video you will find a detailed explanation on Act 2 Scene 9 of Merchant of Venice, and this is a lesson for class 9 for the boys of St. Augustine School. So here, Act 2 Scene 9 at Belmont. Now I'll just read out at the beginning. At Belmont, the second suitor to Portia, the Prince of Aragon makes his choice of the casket. Vain and self-conceited. Vain means he's proud. He feels that he deserves Portia than anyone else. Who chooses the silver casket, which says, "Who chooses me shall get as much as he deserves." The casket has the portrait of a blinking idiot. So when he opens up the casket, he finds the picture of a clown inside, rather than that of Portia. So he has to depart quickly, according to the promise. Portia learns the arrival of a Venetian suitor, and that is here referred to Bassanio. Nerissa prays that he should be Bassanio, whom Portia likes secretly. So, Act 2, Scene 9, Belmont. A room in Portia's house. Enter Nerissa with a servant. So in the previous scene, we had seen in Act 2, Scene 8, we had seen there was a gap. So there was a scene of the chorus where we were informed about Shylock and Antonio. There was a time lapse. Now here we are transported now back to Belmont, and the scene takes place in a room in Portia's house. The characters present there are Nerissa with a servant along with Portia. Nerissa, quick, quick, I pray thee, draw the curtain straight. The Prince of Aragon had taken his oath. Ta'en means here it's a short form for taken. Taken his oath and comes to the election presently. Election here refers to the choice, okay? Flourish of cornets. So there's a lot of trumpets blowing, and enter the Prince of Aragon. So here this is the arrival of the Prince of Aragon. Now Prince of Aragon is a Spanish person, okay? He's a Spaniard, and he's very haughty. He's very proud, he's very vain, and he makes unnecessary and exorbitant claims about his rank, and he makes fun of the common people. He scorns the mob. So here he enters and says, now Portia says, "Behold, stand, there stands the casket, noble prince. If you choose what wherein I am contained, straight shall our nuptial rites be solemnized. But if you fail without more speech, my lord, you must be gone from hence immediately." So here Portia, she is reminding the Prince of Aragon about the promises. All right, so tells him that in one of the casket lies my picture, and that is how you are going to find out that you have chosen the right casket. But if you do not find my picture inside the casket, you have made the wrong choice, so you will have to leave immediately. Then Aragon says, "I am enjoined by oath to observe 3 things. So he also acknowledges, he says, "Yes, I know the 3 oaths that I have to take, okay, before I make the choice. I understand that, and I acknowledge it. First, never to unfold to anyone." What is according to the promise? He says, never to unfold. That means never to reveal to anyone which casket it was I chose. Next, if I fail of the right casket, never in my life to woo a maid. So the second promise comes, if choosing wrong, is that never to marry a woman, in any other woman besides Portia. Of course, when he fails, never to marry any other woman in his life. If I do fail in fortune of my choice, immediately. Now the third promise is to leave immediately and be gone. Portia, to these injunctions everyone doth swear. Okay, so to these injunctions means conditions. Now to this conditions everyone has to make a promise that comes to hazard for my worthless self. Now she is a very humble woman. Everyone knows that she is an intelligent woman. She's capable of a lot of things, but she calls herself as a worthless self. She's very modest in her approach She does not go around telling everybody how great she is or how intelligent she is or how beautiful she is, but she rather says that she is a worthless person. Arrogance says, and so have I addressed me, fortune now, to my heart's hope, gold, silver, and base lead. Now he goes and inspects the three caskets. Now he looks at the casket and says, now, who chooseth me must give and hazard all he hath. You shall look fairer ere I gave her hazard. What says the golden chest? Okay, so when he looks at the leaden casket, the inscription on the leaden casket which says, who chooseth me must give and hazard all he hath. This is something that makes him reject. Just like what Morocco did when he looked at the leaden casket, he says like, you have to look attractive enough for me to choose you. And so does arrogance say, now you should look fairer. Fairer means you should be more attractive. You should look more attractive to make me choose you. Then says, now he looks at the golden casket and says, let me see, who chooseth me shall gain what many men desire. Now can you circle many men? That is exactly why he rejects the golden casket. Now, as I've already told you, the Prince of Aragon is a very haughty man. He is very proud and he scorns the mob. That means he makes fun of common people. So he believes that he does not belong to the group of common people. He is a little different. He is always a little different than them. All right. Now, and says, what many men desire, that many may be meant. Now see how he speaks about the common people by fool multitude. He calls the common people as fool multitude. Multitude means number of people, a mob, okay? Like they are foolish. These people are foolish that choose by show. So these people are foolish because they go around choosing by show. Not learning more than the font I doth teach. What prize not to the interior. So he says these people who look and make a choice are fools because they make a choice looking at the exterior. They never look at the interior. When you look at something, all right, okay, according to Aragon, he says that you actually have to look into the interior, not just be fooled by the glimmering outward show. So this is why he says now, not learning more than the font I doth teach. That means as much as we can see, we should not just go by looks. We should go by what lies inside. And so he says, but I like the marlet. Now he gives an example of the bird, a marlet. Now what does this marlet do is, this marlet, it's a metaphor, okay? You can just write down. The bird marlet is used as a metaphor, and he uses this metaphor, this comparison, to explain to us what common people are. Now what does the marlet do is that it builds its nest in the outward wall of a house, okay? And you know what the nest looks like. It's very fragile and delicate, isn't it? Now even if there is a harsh, if there is a harsh weather, the nest will be destroyed, isn't it? With a very strong wind, it will just blow it off. So here the marlet, okay, builds its nest in the outside part of the wall and knows that, okay, with very harsh weather, its nest is going to be destroyed. And when it sees its nest is destroyed, again, for the next time, again, makes the nest in the same spot, all right, outside the wall. So that is a metaphor he uses to explain the attitude of the common people. They just look at the outside part. The marlet could have easily made a nest inside the house or inside the wall, isn't it? But why does it choose to make a nest every time outside on the outer part of the wall? Tells the stupidity, okay, the foolishness of the bird. Now, even in the force and road of casualty, I will not choose what many men desire. So this is why he says, Now I'm not going to choose what many men desire, because I will not jump with common spirit and rank me with the barbarous multitude. So he's a very, 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 very proud man, and he does not want to be called as those of the common people, because he is always making claims. As we've already seen, he's always making claims of his exorbitant rank. Okay, he's making, exorbitant claims about his rank. So this is what you're going to see now. Because, see, he gives an explanation. He says, I do not want to be called those as many men. Why? Because I will not jump with common spirits and rank me with the barbarous multitude. So this is what he addresses the common people as. He calls them barbarous. What are barbarous? Savage, isn't it? Uncouth, uncivilized. So he thinks that these people are barbarous. So why then to thee, thou silver treasure house? Now looks at the silver casket and says, oh, you are the silver treasure house. Tell me once more, what title thou dost bear? Who chooseth me shall get as much as he deserves, okay? And well said too, for who shall go about to cozen fortune and be honorable without the stamp of merit? So he says, let's look at the silver casket. He is attracted towards the silver casket because of the inscription. And what is the inscription that says that is put up in the silver casket is, who chooseth me shall get as much as he deserves. So the word much as he deserves just strikes him, and he thinks that he is honorable enough to deserve Portia. So that is why he brings in an example of how ranks are acquired. The military ranks are acquired. When you work for a rank, you don't just go and cheat around fortune and you just get that rank. It's not that. You get that rank, okay, after you've worked very hard, and he is very proud about that. He says, I've got this rank, I'm wearing all the merit on my shoulders because I've earned it, and I will wear it every time that I want to. So that is why he says, because of all the merit that I have acquired in my life, I feel that no one can cheat fortune and can acquire any of the ranks, okay, in an unfavorable way. That means no one can cheat and get this rank. You all have to work hard towards getting this rank. It's like if you work hard, okay, you get good marks, isn't it? So if you don't work hard, you don't get good marks. So in the same way, he says, it is by working hard that I am going to get the result that I want. So in the same way, he's worked very hard to be able to wear that merit on his shoulders. Have you seen those stars that the police officers wear on their shoulders? Alright, 1 star, 2 star, 3 stars, okay. So that is acquired after, that is an accomplishment for them, and they wear it very proudly, and so does Prince of Aragon, alright. He wears those merit on his shoulders. So now then he says, without the stamp of merit, let none presume to wear an undeserved dignity. Oh, that estates, degrees, and offices were not derived corruptly, and the clear honor were purchased by the merit of the wearer. Okay? How many then should cover that stand bare? How many be commanded that command? How much low peasantry would then be gleaned from the true spirit of honor? Now he talks about honor. He gives a long speech about honor. Now this is what he means here. He means to say that let no man aspire to wear a dignity which he does not deserve. I wish that property, a person's property, promotions and appointments were not obtained dishonestly, and that pure honor could be got by a deserving man. Which means to say, like, if you look around, there are many undeserving people who are actually enjoying all the good things in life, all right, property, promotions and appointments, whereas those who actually deserve them, who are actually deserving, who should actually get that are not getting it. So that is why he says, how many people, like if you have to calculate how many people should keep the head covered, who now have to stand with their heads bared in respect. That means how many would have to obey orders, who now are giving orders. How many who are now of peasant caste would then be separated out from the ranks who claim to be truly honorable. So this is what he says in the speech here. He says, like, you know, there is so many people who are undeserving and yet behave that they deserve. But if we had to sort them out, how many of them will be left who are to be honored truly? Then he says, from the true seed of honor, and how much honor picked from the chaff and ruin of the times to be new varnished. Well, but to my choice. Then he says, I could go on, you know, like talk about honor, dignity. I can just go on with all these things, but he says, here I have to make my choice. So in the Middle Ages, that is the 15th century, there were two classes of people, right? The upper class and the lower class. Okay, there was nothing called the middle class. So here, the men of honor were obviously the high class people, and the lower class people who were base cultivators to the soil. That is, they were farmers, you know, the major producers. The metaphor from harvesting and winnowing. Now he brings in this metaphor. If he says like picked from the shaft, he gives the example and brings in the reference of harvesting and winnowing. Harvesting means cutting down the crop after its the gathering of the crop. Okay. So, and winnowing is used in the above line. So the word gleaned refers to the gathering of the grains and that left behind in the field after the crops are harvested. The word seed here implies offspring. Offspring means little ones. The word continues its metaphor from gleaning grain by threshing and winnowing. Here it means base-born men. So he's basically making reference to very common people here. Now he is talking with a class distinction. He is an honorable man. Of course, he belongs to the upper strata of the society. Like we've discussed, there were only two group of people in society at that time. And because he belonged to the upper, he looks down on the lower class of people and tells them that they are base-born men. The metaphor from winnowing is used here. Okay, so Aragon continues to say in these lines that if honor and distinction were bestowed by merit in the world, many worthless and mean-minded people of the lower class could be picked out from the high ranks of life and from families who are accounted the noblest. So many men of true worth and merit would be recovered from the low ranks of life and would be restored to their true place of glory and dignity. So this is what he means, like merit comes from your efforts. So this is actually what Aragon says. He says merit, goodness. Okay, if you have to belong to a class, it should come from within. The merit should come from within. So there were two classes of people. Now all those high class people does not always mean that they were good people. Okay, so they may be very mean-minded also who could belong to the, if you see, who had the mentality of belonging to the lower class. But because they were born in the high class, so they carry that on. But he says like there might be so many people in the lower class who have the merit of being pulled up in the higher class. But sadly, I just have to make my choice. This is what he says. And then, well, but to my choice, who chooseth me shall get as much as he deserves. I will assume desert. Give me the key for this and instantly unlock my fortune here. So he's very confident that Portia's portrait might be in the silver casket. So here it shows, that is what we were talking about. It shows the wisdom of the casket. We understand that the person choosing the casket is choosing the casket according to his character. Okay, here arrogant, he is immersed in self-love. He can see nothing else but himself. So here he chooses the silver casket. Then he opens the silver casket and Portia says, "Oh, what happened? You have paused so long." So Arrogant was shocked. He gave such a long speech, and then he opens it, and just imagine finding the portrait of a clown there instead of Portia. So he keeps on looking at it. He's shocked, and then Portia says, "What happened? Too long a pause. For what? For that which you find there. What do you find there?" Arrogant says, What's here? The portrait of a blinking idiot presenting me a schedule. I will read it." Okay, so he says something here. Schedule here means a scroll. There is the picture of a clown, and there is this scroll inside. "How much unlike art thou to Portia?" Looks at the clown, and then he says, "Oh, you don't look at all like Portia. How much unlike my hopes and deservings." Okay, and this is in total contrast to what I had hoped and deserved. Then, "Who chooseth me?" Then now this is what he finds here. "Who chooseth me shall have as much as he deserves." Now this is what I deserve, a blinking idiot. Did I deserve no more than the fool's head? Is that my prize? Are my deserts not better? Okay, are my deservings not better? Portia says, "To offend and judge are distinct offices and of opposed nature." Now she is a very humble woman. She remains very composed, and that is why she says the one who has offended and the one who judges have different duties and different capacities. Now you cannot be an offender and a judge. Okay, they both have different liabilities. They both have different responsibilities. So in this case, you cannot offend, you cannot judge at the same time. Okay, it is distinct offices. It is two different liabilities. This is what Portia says, and she shows intelligence here. Arrogant says, "What is here? Now let me see what is here inside the scroll." Then he reads, the fire 7 times strike this." Now this is what is written in the scroll. 7 times strike the judgment is, that the never choosenless. Some here be that shadows kiss. Such have but a shadow's bliss. There be fools alive always, silvered o'er, and so was this. Take what wife you will to bed, I will ever be your head. So be gone, you are sped. Still more fool, I shall appear. By the time I linger here, with one fool's head I come to woo, but I go away with 2. Sweet adieu, I'll keep my oath, patiently to bear my wrath. Alright, so this is what is written in the silver casket, and says like the information. Okay, not the information, what is there inside the scroll was this, that you looked at this, you looked at the outer self, and the scroll says that the silver metal, okay, silver, the fire 7 times strike. This means the silver metal of the casket was tested 7 times by the fire. A mind which never makes an error, never makes a mistake of judgment, must be similarly tested 7 times. So a person who thinks that he's not going to make any mistake should be tested several times first. Some people find their happiness in shadows and follow unreality. Like that is the case with everyone, isn't it? We follow a lot of unrealistic dreams, and then we end up being very sad at the end. So this is what he also ends up as. Their happiness is therefore only shadowy and unreal. Now this was the cost that he had to pay for being an unrealistic man who only loved himself. There are many living fools like arrogant. There are many fools, I wish. Means to hear refers to arrogant. There are many fools, just like you, arrogant, whose foolishness is hidden by the silvery hair. When does the silver hair come? The grey hair. with wisdom, with age comes wisdom, isn't it? So here it says, like, you know, you might have the silver hair, like you might look like a wise man, because they have appearance of being vulnerable and wise. Only one of these is this fool's head, which is concealed in the silver casket. Arrogant will always have a fool's head. That means you will always be an idiot. You'll always be a fool for your whole life. And he should take his leave now, as his chances over. Now Portia, now exit arrogant and his train. Now as with the, you know, as the promises, you have to leave immediately. So he leaves immediately, and Portia says, thus had the candle signed the moth. Now she makes a wonderful imagery. She gives us the picture. Imagery is a figure of speech that helps you build a picture in your mind when you read a line. Now she gives the picture of how, you know, during evening time, when we start putting the lights, when we start switching on the lights in the house, okay, during the evening time, with the light, it draws in a lot of insects inside the house, isn't it? In the same way, she says, like, she gives us an imagery of how these moths and insects are being attracted towards the candle and comes towards the light. But the candle is a naked flame. Now the insect does not know that if it comes very close to the candle, it is going to be perished. It is going to be burnt down, isn't it? So here these people who are coming to make the choice are the insects which are being attracted by the beauty of Portia, but they come in, they make the wrong choice, and just like the insect, they are consumed by the fire. They are destroyed by the fire of the candle. So all these deliberate fools, when they do choose, they have the wisdom by the wit to lose. No, they are so poor in their wits that they always make the wrong choice. Nerissa says, the ancient saying is no heresy. Hanging and wiving goes by destiny. Okay, there is an old saying. Heresy means something that is a false teaching. So then, according to an old proverb, it says, hanging and wiving goes by destiny. That is, being hanged for getting a wife are things arranged by fate. Okay. Then Portia says, come, draw the curtains. Nerissa enters a servant. Servant says, where is my lady? There's a servant who has come looking for Portia. Portia says, here, what would you want, my lord? Servant says, madam, there is a lighted at your gate. Now there is a ray of hope for Portia. Finally, it's like a ray of hope that comes in a very dark room. Imagine you're sitting inside a dark room and you see a ray coming from somewhere. Wouldn't you be interested in knowing, like, where that ray of light is coming? And that ray of light gives you hope, isn't it? In the same way, this message, alighted at your gate, that there is a Venetian alighted at your gate, that means probably a messenger who has come from Venice, comes as a ray of hope for Portia, because now she hopes that there is no one else coming to make the choice, but it is going to be Bassanio, whom she secretly loves. So it is. A young Venetian, one that comes before to signify the approaching of his lord. Lord here refers to Bassanio, for whom he bringeth sensible regrets, to wit, besides commends and courteous spread gifts of rich value. So he's already there. He looks very promising, and in addition to all the salutations and courteous regards, he's also brought in a lot of gifts, very expensive gifts with him. Yet I have not seen so likely an ambassador of love. So this particular messenger is the ambassador of love. He brings in the message of love. A day in April never came so sweet, to show how costly summer was at hand. Such beautiful lines. As this forced poor comes before this Lord. Now here, it's again an imagery. So here, a day in April never came so sweet. Now, comes here. Now it comes like, you know, the rich summer soon to follow during April. In April, okay, there is the sweet promise of a warm summer coming in, okay, which is certainly going to follow as this advanced rider. So as this servant has come, he comes like those days in April, which comes in with the promises of this warm summer coming soon. So Portia says, "No more, I pray thee, I am half afeard. Thou wilt say anon, he is some kin to thee. Thou spendest such high day with in praising him. Come, come, Nerissa, for I long to see quick Cupid's post that comes so mannerly." Now she is very excited. "I request you to speak no more." Now she says, "Please don't speak anything. I'm almost afraid you will say he is some relation of yours, since you extend the fullest force of your intelligence in praising him." Now you are already praising him. So please don't say anything anymore. I just want to see who it is and hope that the swift messenger of Cupid who has come in such a fine manner. And Nerissa says, "Bassanio, Lord love, if thy will it be." So Nerissa also hopes that it is Bassanio, and she says, "May it be Bassanio and no one else, O God of love. If such is your will," then they go out. Okay, so that's how the scene ends, with a ray of hope, with a little bit of happiness coming in for Portia, with the messenger who comes in with a message of love, telling that the Lord is yet to follow, is approaching. Okay, so thank you boys so much for listening patiently. Now with this we have come to the end of Act 2. So perhaps in the next video I will see you with Act 3, Scene 1. And according to the syllabus, I think we'll have to cover up to Act 3, Scene 1. Thank you so much.